is this? Oh, they moved the intro somewhere nonsense. Anyway, let's start. Ready?
I was born ready.
Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. You're very welcome to today's edition of the Locker Room 981. I'm not alone, of course. I have the one and only Dynamite, Tega Onojaife. Hello, Tega, how you doing?
I'm fine. I'm good.
You're good. You're well. You're doing good. I hope you're doing well as well. And if you are, please say hello or hi on our WhatsApp platform. And that's also where you can send in your messages. WhatsApp is 0809 444 0981.
And yeah, we will open the phone lines today because some mental health issues have come up again. So that we are discussing.
By the way, the Bed King is brought to you by I said the Bed King. The Locker Room 981 is brought to you by Bed King. All right, if you'd like to also watch us, you can go onto our YouTube channel, youtube.com/smooth981 FM Lagos. If you haven't tuned in, you just missed a beautiful dance by Tega. All right, let's get to our first one. Saying Fadjo, thanks for your hi. We did say if you're feeling good, say hello, say hi, guys. Hey. All right, Jordan Warras, 33 points, not enough as the Tigers go down to Germany. Nigeria's the Tigers lost for the second time in a row in the Olympic men's basketball tournament, going down to Germany 99-92, following a fourth quarter collapse that made fruitless Jordan Warras' game leading 33-point performance. Although a top two finish now appears dim for Nigeria, all hopes for a quarter-final ticket aren't entirely lost for the African champions, but they would need to beat Italy in their final group match and hope other results go their way to either finish second in Group B or as one of the best third-placed teams to secure a berth in the draws for the quarterfinals.
Yes, so we have moved our calculator from football to basketball.
Oh, yes.
And it was heartbreaking at midnight last night when this happened to Nigeria, but the Tigers had played so well, and again I think it's maturity down the stretch. So they played so well. They opened up a 12-point gap. It looked like okay, yes, they were going to do the business. Down the stretch, Germany played the clock. That's what I would say. And here is how you play the clock. You're losing by 12 points. You start to stop the clock. You start to stop the gap, and that's what it is. And so what they did was stop the gap, stop the Tigers from scoring as many points as possible, and on their own end, defensively they were solid and they made their baskets, and that's how they beat us. It wasn't that they were better than us, it wasn't that they were faster than us, it was that they were smarter down the stretch, and that's what the Tigers need to do. And so that's where the problem with the Tigers is. So unfortunately for them now, it's down to Italy. And when your last game is a desperate one, any kind of mistakes can happen. So think about it. The game against Australia, a little bit expected for me that they would lose against the Australians because superior team, superior ranking. I'd seen it, but again, they still had too many turnovers in that game.
Yeah.
Defensively, they were not solid and they were not knocking down their buckets on the perimeter. The same thing against Germany. Too many turnovers at the down the stretch, and it came from being nervous and being desperate. Because when you've had a 12-point lead erased, you start being desperate, and then you lose your shape, you lose your structure. So that's where the problem was. So you can imagine if they were nervous and desperate in a game they had a 12-point lead. A game that determines if they stay in the tournament could be a lot more difficult mentally for them. The word mental is just coming up today.
It's just coming up. That's the word of the day. Definitely.
So and where their mind is at right now, I don't know. The team is great, if you ask me. They play well. They just need to play smarter. Unfortunately for them, though, this game is gone. This is the one game I thought they could have had in the back to settle them down. This game is gone. They have to, first of all, they have to beat Italy. And then hope that results in other groups go in our favor. That's what it is.
The calculators
so it's not just the calculators and the prayers are out because it's two things now. You beat and then you pray.
Yeah. So prayers up for the Tigers, and I hope at least we're a praying nation. So I know that's one thing we can be assured of. All right, let's move on to some Formula One. Red Bull have requested a review of the penalty given to Mercedes Lewis Hamilton after his first lap collision with Max Verstappen at the British Grand Prix. Both teams have been summoned to appear before Video Link on Thursday. Red Bull want the penalty increased, but will need to present new evidence which was not available at the time of the original inquiry for seven-time world champion Hamilton to be sanctioned further. The stewards will then consider Red Bull's findings and decide if it constitutes new evidence and whether to proceed with a review.
Okay, so Red Bull are not giving up. That last weekend, it
It touched the runner.
It really did touch and runner. But what it is yes, they have the opportunity to request further sanctions. Now, so it's a tricky one, and it's also going to have to be a political one because Mercedes is a big constructor in this game, and so if Mercedes weren't a major, didn't have a major say,
Yeah.
If this were a smaller team, I think the sanctions would have been worse.
You
But
think?
then, yeah, I think the sanctions would have been worse. The way Red Bull are pushing, I also think that they may not have been pushing this hard. These two things is one of two things: is that sanctions would have been worse, or they may not have been pushing this hard because they're not competitors. So let's say a Haas was one that hit Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
Because they are not competing for points or championships, I don't think that Red Bull would have pushed this hard. But then again, I think the stewards could have said, you know what, let's give them a harsher punishment. But Mercedes, you can't try this one with them. If you give them a harsh punishment, they'll bring all the record of Max Verstappen hitting people. Say, what of this one? What of that one? What of the other one? It's going to be a lot. And
It's
because
about to get
political
interesting.
willpower is here. There's this is no longer about the drivers. This is no longer about driving. This is about two constructors that have power.
Yeah.
This is rich man fight. And Red Bull are really angry
Rich man.
because to get Max Verstappen's car back, to get a car for Max Verstappen, they spent about 1.3 million euro. I'm sorry, pounds. Just yes, those cars are expensive. Those cars are expensive.
That's why it's so hurtful.
So it's
yeah.
and you know, because they have budget caps this year, and
Yeah.
again you have to think of what COVID did to the market. So there's just a lot of things that's happening to Red Bull. They are not even finding it funny. The constructors championship is on their mind. The drivers championship is on their mind, but also money is on their mind.
Of course.
Unfortunately for them, they are in a battle with another rich man. So this is two rich men packed in the middle of the road, fighting now.
They're not even joking.
They're not,
They're not even
They're not joking. So the stewards have given them. So what it is, they have to provide new evidence. Mercedes is even saying that this punishment was harsh. That's Mercedes' stance. That this punishment was harsh. The first time I saw it, I actually
That's
didn't
tricky.
think. I actually thought it was a racing incident. And I still stand by it till tomorrow that it was a racing incident.
Yeah.
But the steward said Lewis Hamilton is predominantly at fault, which means Verstappen is also at fault, but not predominantly
Yeah.
so.
You did say it, and that I remember the analogy you gave was like when both of you are forced, the first person to run to the teacher.
Exactly. That's what it is. So Mercedes, they just keep pushing them. Unfortunately for them, it's another rich man they are fighting. So this is Christian Horner and Toto Wolff just flexing muscle.
Total.
And unfortunately for the stewards, it's just another day at the office they don't want.
Yeah.
And so what it means for this weekend's race though is that the gloves are off. This is UFC. That's it. It's Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen knuckle to knuckle. No buffers whatsoever. Everybody's fight to the finish. That's what it is. Let me not use the word death. But to the finish. That's what they're going to do this weekend.
All right, and guess who loves it? The
Tega.
viewers. And Tega. My tire from Aja says the power of permutation and Nigerian sports. Shake hands again. We all know where we're going to. It's like their social media handle is the only one working at this Olympics. And then JJ says we are starting our prayer for the Tigers in distress. We love you. That's why I said if it's prayers, no. Nigerians will pray. If you say we should give money now,
And that may be a bit tricky.
And let's move over. We've done basketball. We've touched on Formula One and now tennis. Daniel Medvedev struggled with the heat in Tokyo on Wednesday after reaching the Olympic quarterfinals. Second seed Medvedev defeated Italy's Fabio. What is it with Italians? What is it? For Guinea 6-2, 3-6, 6-2 to set up a last 8 meeting with Pablo Carreno Busta of Spain at Ariake Tennis Park. Two-time Grand Slam runner-up Medvedev, who had urged organizers to delay start times after his opening match, again found the temperatures testing as the extreme weather policy once more came into effect. Asked by the umpire if it was okay during the second set, the Russian replied, "I can finish the match, but I can die. If I die, who will take responsibility?"
Let
Oh
me tell you,
my.
Medvedev is the most witty person, and
I
he has
know.
such a straight face when he's doing this thing. For a Russian, it's really tricky for me. I expect this kind of thing from the Brits. I
Yeah.
expect it from the Americans. But when I hear a Russian who they usually come across as serious minded, which is
Yes.
why you shouldn't paint everybody with the same brush.
Yes.
They come across as serious minded. The way Medvedev just throw these things, I mean, you can't help but laugh. But look, I watched that match. This guy was wilting. Have you seen a flower wilting before?
Mm-hmm.
That was how Medvedev was by the end of the first half, which he won.
Oh.
And Fonini took advantage of the his physical struggles by winning the second set, and he just had to put every fight he had in it. Into winning the third set. But yes, the temperatures are ridiculous. The other day, it was Kei Nishikori from Japan who was struggling against the US, what's his name? Giron from US. But he had the technical superiority to beat that guy. But the temperatures are really something that is a cause for concern, which is there's a long break in
Didn't they
between.
consider that
They
when they...
did, but there's a long break. But there's not much they can do. If they have to push a little extra,
Yeah.
they will not finish their events in time. When they're supposed to finish it, even the marathons had been moved earlier. Because I remember I was watching the triathlon at midnight. No, at not at midnight. Before midnight, maybe around 11. And that means it's really early in Tokyo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe 6 a.m. or
6
5.
a.m.
So they must have lined up at 5:30 a.m.
Okay, just so
Or
I...
just thereabout because of the temperature. So it's something that's a cause for concern, but the athletes are just braving it through. So expectedly, Medvedev comes over this one. I mean, he's world number 2 ranked
Can
player.
die.
But he was like, yeah, he said two things can happen literally. I can finish a match or I can die. Which one he wanted to be? But he did finish the match fortunately, and he's on to the next round. In the women's game though, just today, Belinda Bencic of Switzerland has made it to the semifinals in her first ever Olympic appearance.
Oh.
She's always had one injury or the other during the regular Olympic appearance, but this year she was able to make it. Naomi Osaka, though, the face of the Japan Olympics, was knocked out yesterday.
Aww.
No, it wasn't. It was not the kind of fight knockout. It was knockout, and everybody was like, wait, what just happened? It was literally even a knockout watch for us, the audience, because I expected her to beat her opponent yesterday, even go further a little, because number one, she's playing on her favorite surface. Is a hard court, and even if it's a fast hard court, but it's a hard court, so this is where she thrives. Number two, it was a tournament she was prepared. She'd taken her time to prepare for. Number three, she's playing at home, and I put that in apostrophe because she was raised in New York, but she's playing at home. But unfortunately, she also said the pressure got to her. I was just like, what's happening here? So she was knocked out yesterday. So world number 1 and world number 2 knocked out of the Olympics.
Knocked out.
WTA, like I said, is wild west.
Wow, I love it. That's actually what makes it extra special.
Yeah, for the men though, Djokovic is still en route for his Golden Slam because he's leading David Fokina right now. His match is going on right now, and he's already leading the first set. So let's see how that pans
out. All right, let's see how that pans out. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue the locker room.
Yes. So let me just give you a preview. We'll open the phone. Preview. The preview is we are opening the phone lines. We are going to discuss Simone Biles, who pulled out of her team event at gymnastics. Yesterday, because she was struggling with mental health issues. So let's talk about this.
The Locker Room 981 is brought to you by Bed King.
So so we'll open the phone lines for that. When we come back, we'll read the story.
Yeah.
Then we'll open the phone. I'll give my analysis. Then we'll open the phone lines.
Yeah. You're the rest, my everything.
Hey. Wait. Sorry, I said Germany, Brazil, Abi. I meant Germany, Cote d'Ivoire. Brazil was the one we were watching when I told it to you. Maybe that's why I said it.
Back again.
But I'm sure you were struggling with, because I was like, maybe she's struggling with the CIV. But you should have, once you just saw Germany, just leave it there. Because a lot of people will struggle with that Cote d'Ivoire. It's Ivory Coast. So
Right? Are
everybody
they
should.
doing well?
At Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
So far, I think they're most likely going to move into the next round, because they
Let's
already
go.
have 4 points.
Smooth 98.1, love music, love life. You're very welcome to today's edition. Again, if you're just tuning in to the Locker Room 981, but for those who have been here, we've been to so many countries, touched on so many sports. We started off with basketball and then Formula One and then tennis, and now we're moving on to some other sports. Before then, Cruz says, good morning, Aya and Tega. Can we win a betting code on the show?
Not today.
Not
That was
today.
Monday. Hope you use that Monday one.
I hope so too. All right, let's move on to other stories. If you'd like to share your thoughts with us, send your message to WhatsApp 0809 4440981. We will be opening the phone lines very shortly. So here's the number to call 01 448 Also streaming live on YouTube. So please go ahead on there. Gymnastics superstar Simone Biles says mental health concerns had led her to withdrawal from the women's team final at the Tokyo Olympics on Tuesday. According to the American, she said, I have to do what's right for me and focus on my mental health and not jeopardize my health and well being. She said this after her team were beaten by the Russian quartet in her absence. After she joined her teammates to collect their silver medals, four-time Olympic champion Biles confirmed she had not been injured. She said, I just don't trust myself as much as I used to, and I don't know if it's age. I'm a little bit more nervous when I do gymnastics. I feel like I'm also not having as much fun. And I know that this Olympic Games, I wanted it to be for myself, she said as she began to cry. It just sucks that it happened here at the Olympic Games. With the year that it's been, I'm really not surprised the way it played out.
Okay, so I will say this for Simone. So many things had led up to this. So first of all, when during the trials at the US, she was executing some of um, her different performances, and they reduced her marks. They refused to give her high marks because they said if they gave her high marks for those things, that other gymnasts will now try to risk dangerous moves. So yes, because her moves were a little bit too complicated, they refused to give her. So that was the first struggle.
Wow.
And then she gets here, and then she's fumbling. So let me tell you what I think. I think even if she had gone on to perform, they still would have won silver, because she had come out the day before, and she struggled. And then at the start of the team sport, she came out on the vault, and it looked like it was somebody else. It was very average performance. She left, she came back, and then she spoke with her coach, and they withdrew her. So she wasn't even giving optimum performances.
Yeah.
So yes, even if some people say, but she left her teammates hanging, and she's a superstar. The truth of the matter is, as much as she was the superstar, she wasn't performing like the superstar. So her performance wouldn't have changed silver. Probably would have made it bronze. Because she wasn't doing well at all. The first day I saw her struggle, I was like, okay, maybe she's warming up. But when they decided the team event, and she was all still struggling on the vault, I was like, there's something off with this girl. I thought it was a physical injury, but it's obviously something playing in her head. Maybe there's too much pressure, or the place is too quiet. Maybe whatever it was, it got to her. So the team did the right thing to pull her out. Now, people are saying, so if I have a bad day, I can just say, better health and go home.
My sister.
And that's where the problem is. And there are sponsors who have put money on these things. So I always tell people, because I think it's because I'm in a country where I struggle to find brands that take sports seriously enough to invest in the development process. That maybe because of that, I also struggle with athletes that don't show up on the day when you have the support. I think for me that's it, because I come from a country that doesn't support. So when you have a country that supports,
well, that's it. That's not usually the case.
it's just
People that have sort of take it for granted.
Yeah, people
And
that don't
those that
have.
don't
I
have
mean, just
your
imagine you're a Nigerian army. So you would never get any sponsorship again. In fact, they will not select you for anything again. But the seriousness, the truth is, there are mental health issues, and these things affect athletes' performance. So let's discuss this mental health issue. Her teammates have openly come to say they've supported her, but again, that's what people say in the open.
Yeah.
But what it is if you're my teammate, and on the day you're supposed to show up,
You decide that you're not showing up.
you're not showing up. How do I take it? So let's discuss Simone Biles and her withdrawal due to mental health. What do you think?
What do you think?
I've said what I think. You can say what you think. It could be different. It could be the same. But just tell us on these numbers I was about to call what you think about Simone pulling out of her team event.
0144899981. That's 0144899981. You can share with us. We want to hear your voice. What do you think about first it was Naomi Osaka. A number of people are mental health, and the thing about it is that you can't really argue against mental health. What do you begin to say?
Yeah, so,
And not
yeah,
sound
exactly. So for
insensitive?
me, from Naomi Osaka's own, the reason why I was upset is that she wanted to continue competing in the tournament but not do press
Okay,
conferences.
yeah.
Simone Biles just extricated herself from the situation.
Yeah.
For me, if you can maintain the pressure enough to play tennis,
Yeah.
because that's a mental sport. If you can measure the pressure, you should play, show up at a press conference, or you pull out of the tournament, which she eventually did. So if you are struggling with those issues, just pull out of the tournament that is giving you all that pressure. That one is for me. But for Simone Biles now, it was a team event. It was a team sport. She's the captain of the team. She's the leader. She's the superstar, and then she pulls out, and they lose to
Don't
Russia.
let the team down.
So don't let the team down.
Or you go on for your mental health. I think personally, people have become a bit more self-centered. But let's move on to our next story. But please, at any point in time, feel free to call us.
So Faith has
Send us a
something to
message.
say.
Yeah. Faith says, "Hello, Tega and Ayo. As for Simone Biles, with the kind of sport, gymnastics, mental health issues could be life-threatening. If she's lost mid-air, it could cost her or a teammate." Okay.
Yeah.
So how
that's,
teammates for their lives?
For if she's freezes or anything, cost her or her teammate. So Faith, that's a good point to make. So
No.
at the end of the day, she did what was good for
both or for all
for
of
herself
them.
and
Maybe
for
the
the team.
teammates are even thinking, "See, we are not okay. Please don't."
I mean, when I saw her, I was just like, this is not who is this? Because this is not Simone. I don't know who this is. The performance was too average. This is the girl that, have you seen her on Instagram? She took off her clothes standing on her hands. Yep.
How did she do that?
So she was wearing pants and she was wearing her sweater and she took off her clothes. Let's take this.
Let's take this call. Good morning. Oh, call us back. I know that sometimes.
So yeah, so she's a wizard when it comes to gymnastics. So when I tell you that she took off her clothes standing on her hands, you can imagine how she made those moves. So when I saw her on the floor, I was surprised.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Hello, good morning. This is Bukun calling from Lagos Island.
Yeah. Hello, Bukum from Lagos Island. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I really feel sorry for Simone Biles. I don't understand what's going on in sports nowadays and athletics. I don't. How do you tell a superstar not to perform to the person's best?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like what they did to Kata Semaya. It's really puzzling to me. And it will affect anyone. Imagine if you, Ayo, your producer tells you, when you get to the studio, don't speak proper English because Valentine can't speak proper English.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Actually.
So it started from the US.
Or they really make some grammatical errors. Say, I did it there when you should be speaking properly. When you go out to do that show, you'll be conscious because you're not performing as Ayo Mario Essay. Comes down to somebody else's level. That's just on our side. Now look at it in the view of somebody who's doing like somebody quietly sent a message. A life-threatening sport. This is gymnastics. This is not football or rugby or cricket. One slip and someone could break their neck and die. So I think she did the right thing, and I'm really, really disappointed in the US team. Imagine what sports is this. If they told Messi you are dribbling too much, you are not allowing Barcelona out there. Although you are too fast, slow down. Schmeichel, you have to be look bad. No, I really feel sorry for her. I mean, when they did it with Kakasimaya, I was saying, look, I didn't want to tell the guys in the NBA, the 7 foot guys, please kneel down. You have to talk.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you, Bokun. So
Sport that they try and do that, everybody should just quit and let those people making the news come and entertain the public.
how do you okay,
All right,
thank
Ibuku.
you,
Thank
Bokun.
you.
How do you quit? I'm sure there are some teammates that are like, yes. Because they can't even execute it. So they'll
Yes,
probably be
yes.
happy that they're slowing her down.
They're slowing her down. All right,
So
what's up? All right, on this same to reacting to the same story, we have this from Jake. Jake says that he has a lot to say about this.
it's
It's too long, but let me just see if I can quickly. Oh, sorry, it's Jide. So if I can quickly summarize, as about the mental health thing, I could say a lot, especially regarding their age. They're still young and so not really mature. Saying that it seems that the mental health card seems to come up mostly when they're not doing well. At least you know it's okay to lose. Otherwise, you should find another job.
exactly,
Says,
Jide, I'm with you on this.
yes, to be honest, I'm not sure merely feeling anxious about losing or winning in a sport is serious on the mental health states.
I agree. So it seems to be coming up a lot when they are struggling. Remember, Liz Cambage also left the Australian team to deal with her mental health. Apparently, it's come out that she got into a fight. And she was using all kinds of nasty words against the Nigerian women's team. And then even her teammates tried to stop her, and then there was the fight. So the Australian team was actually going to suspend her before all this, because she had to apologize to the Nigerian team. Of course, we accepted her apology. Her teammates accepted her apology, but there was an issue there. So it seems like this thing always come up when they are not doing well.
Yes.
And for me, that's a little iffy. But I also understand, again, once it's mental health issues, just leave them.
Yes, it's very
because once your mind
yeah.
is not there,
Yeah,
your mind is not
it's
there.
not there.
Okay, let's. I was also going to touch on something else.
The Cameroonian one.
So let's go to this
All right.
Cameroonian one.
So in June, the Cameroonian weightlifter was officially selected for the International Olympic Committee's refugee team in a ceremony co-hosted by the IOC president Thomas Bach, making him the first UK-based refugee Olympian. In Tokyo, Chachet too will compete in the 96-kilogram weight class on 31st July as part of a 29-strong contingent of displaced athletes.
Okay, so here is it. Let me give you a background on this Cameroonian weightlifter. So in 2014, he had gone to Glasgow with the Cameroon team to compete as a Cameroonian. According to the story, so this is me just giving you story. I'm not telling you what any other thing. According to the story, they said while he was in Glasgow, he heard he could not come back home for fear of his life. Don't make any faces yet. For fear of his life. So he started sleeping under the bridge. This one, that one. Police now came and saw him under the bridge. He now told them that the situation at home was really bad, that he's afraid for his life, that he can't go home. So they took him to an asylum. They started the process for him. Bottom line, he became a refugee, and now he's competing for the refugee team. Here is my thought on this one, because I am African and I know what these people do. Athletes get up, join a team, go to a foreign country and disappear, and they start claiming that different situations. That's the story they start telling. Oh, we're seeking asylum, situation is very bad. And I understand your need to japa, but this is again why embassies don't give a lot of athletes visas, because they don't trust that you will come back, because they trust that if they think that if you go out for this event now, you go and start claiming that things are different in your country, and then you start seeking asylum and you won't come back. And so this situation, in as much as people are trying to paint it as a success story, I think it's also a flawed situation.
Yeah.
What chased him from his country? Why don't they want to reveal that? There's too many loopholes in this story. And it doesn't come together to make sense. So I think for me, if you say you're going for a competition, go to the Commonwealth Games and come back. Not that you go there and then start telling all sorts of stories so that you get asylum and you stay there, because that's what this guy has done now. And tomorrow another athlete that is genuinely going to compete and come back will now be denied visa because of this thing. On the other hand, though, yes, that's my take on this story.
Yeah.
So for me, in as much as they try to romanticize the story, it's not romantic. On the other hand, though, I'm hearing that athletes are locked out. Nigerian athletes are locked out of the Olympic Village because they did not provide out of this event tests. And that's the job that your NOC or your federation is supposed to do. So athletes are already in Tokyo, but they cannot get into the Olympic Games to register and compete. So again, things like this can make athletes want to, what's the word we use here?
Japa.
Japa.
That's the first thing when Tega was telling me about this Cameroonian weightlifter. I was saying, Tega, honestly, I don't think many people would not sympathize with you in Nigeria because they're like, if you were me. But these are the kind of issues that we deal with that makes it very discouraging.
And then one athlete's sister came out to say that actually the federation abandoned her sister at a hotel.
No.
So it's not fair. And the sister is supposed to be the discus, is competing in the discus event for us. And she's not registered.
Look at what
until
Emeka
now.
from Amoa says. Says, as regards weightlifting, I was watching the female weightlifting of the Olympics yesterday and I felt envious. This was a sport Nigerian women did well in. Now we're not even participating at all. What went wrong? Seems only our female Paralympians are the only ones making us proud in that.
My brother, the system is broken everywhere, including in sports.
All right. On that note, we have to go now. Thank you so much, Tega. Find Tega with what she does, loves doing a lot, which is promoting ladies in sports at LIS International, supporting and promoting ladies in sports, showcasing them as well. It's at LIS International on Instagram. You can follow us at Smooth981. Let's continue the conversation online. Don't forget, we'll be back on Friday at 9 o'clock, same time here on Smooth 98.1. For the next few minutes, enjoy some smooth music.
World never loses its action because the game never changes.
That was loud.
Yeah, it's because I was doing it for during phone calls.
I beg